Frantic call for help.
Please, God, take lady guy like this.
Sir, what's going on?
I just made a base jump off an 1,800-foot tower. On opening, I struck a guide wire. My parachute wrapped around it, and I'm a few hundred feet from my death right now.
Thrill seeker John Agnos dangles more than 200 feet above the ground. Even worse, his parachute lines are slipping by the second.
Oh, God, please hurry. If these lines get out, I'm dead.
Sir, you're not going to die. You want me to stay on the phone with you?
Please.
Sacramento Fire and Rescue arrive on the scene. But there's no way a ladder can extend high enough to reach John. To save the base jumper's life, firefighter John Clark must undertake the most challenging and dangerous rescue of his career.
I've never done any kind of rescue like this. We didn't train on anything like this. As far as I know, nothing like this has ever been done in this department.
Clark will have to hurry. John is fading fast.
Try and breathe.
Oh, God.
Hey, John, you gotta stop, honey. You're gonna hyperventilate. Just relax. They're trying to figure out how to help you, okay?
Clark tethers himself to the guide wire and begins a slow and perilous ascent.
It was actually really hard to see him because he's so high up that the spotlights were barely even really lighting him.
Using all his strength, Clark pulls himself up the cable.
It was hard as hell. I'm just inchworming my way up. The biggest I could get would be the distance of my arm. When I thought I was halfway, I wasn't even close.
Finally, after more than 50 minutes of non-stop climbing, Clark reaches John, much to the base jumper's relief.
Until I saw John Clark pull up, I felt helpless. The parachute was slipping in between the lines, and I figured there's no way that I could hold out, and I would go plummeting down like that.
He was pretty upset. His legs were numb. He thought he broke both his arms, and he thought he was going to die because he's only hanging there by his parachute.
Suspended from the guide wire by only a safety line, Clark carefully rigs a pulley system, John's only hope of survival.
I dropped the system down to him, and he basically had to hook himself into our lowering system because I can't reach him. He's still about 6 feet below me.
It was getting kind of delirious at the end. I was trying to keep myself awake, too, because I figured if I'm passed out, then I'm going to be no assistance to them at all.
If John doesn't hook himself up just right, he'll plummet to his death when Clark cuts the lines to his chute.
My system itself was really not in any immediate danger unless that cable came loose. His system was in definite danger.
Clark slices the chute free. Luckily, the pulley holds. Now the firemen below can lower him to the ground.
He basically hooked me up to a pulley, and then the rope was run to the ground, and they belayed me down. That was the most trying thing I've ever had, just hanging there. That was precarious.
John is rushed away by paramedics, forever grateful to the man who went to extreme lengths to save his life.
It was an amazing climb he made and did put his life at risk. And my eternal gratitude to the guy for putting his life on the line.
Altadena, California. Hiker Stephen Tolkien and a friend are stranded on a hillside that's crumbling beneath their feet.
Whatever we reached for crumbled in our hands to dust. The rock just dissolved. And every time we tried to put our foot down, it just slipped because it was like a landslide waiting to happen.
A crewman harnesses the first hiker. A rescue chopper quickly airlifts the man to safety. But when the rescuer returns for Stephen, there's big trouble. the brittle hillside gives way. The airman somehow gains a foothold and climbs to Stephen. He has to work quickly. The sandy cliff could slide again at any second. He manages to get one end of the harness around Stephen. But just as he's securing the other line, the entire ledge collapses. Stephen clings to the rescuer as they hang 500 feet above the canyon floor.
If the slightest thing went wrong at that moment, if the clip broke or if anything went wrong with the cable, I would die spectacularly at that moment.
But then, more trouble. The rotor's tailwind propels them into a furious spin, making it impossible to pull them into the chopper.
I just remember spinning around upside down, holding onto the guy, shouting over the noise of the rotors. Has this ever happened before? And he goes, no!
Suddenly, just above them, a path appears. The pilot seizes the opportunity and executes a perfect drop and ends their dizzying ordeal.
The helicopter pilot dropped us so lightly and gently that I didn't even feel it.
Back on terra firma, Stephen is tearfully reunited with his family.
We all took a stupid hike, and we went hiking where we probably shouldn't have gone hiking.
Thanks to a pair of fearless flyers, he'll live to hike another day.
If I could tell those firemen anything right now, it would be, I think that my children have a father because of you, and I thank you for that. And I say that not so much because of being lifted off the ledge, it was how they handled things when the ledge crumbled and when it went into code red. That's where it got critical. That's where my life was saved.
Somebody in their Royal. Yeah, he's probably in the middle of the freeway by now.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. 15-year-old James Ridgway was trying to retrieve his keys from the ledge of an arroyo when he was suddenly swept away by a flash flood. For more than 5 miles, he's been struggling to stay afloat. Firefighters Mike Martinez and Eddie Gutierrez prepared to battle the deadly water.
Me and Eddie, we just jumped into our harnesses, put our jackets and our helmets on, and we were running down the bank.
They know this might be their only shot to get James out alive.
As soon as we were down there, they were yelling that he was coming around the corner.
As the vicious tide pounds the helpless team, Mike gets in position with the rope. But before he can throw it, the kid goes under.
When we saw him go into the water, we didn't know if he was going to come back up.
Seconds feel like minutes. Just when all hope seems lost, James pops to the surface. Eddie makes a perfect toss with the lifeline.
He came back up in front of me just in time for me to get him the rope.
They quickly pull him up from the torrid water.
As soon as I grabbed him, he went limp. He had no more strength at all to hang on to the rope.
James is lucky. Despite a few bangs and bruises, he lives to recall the day he almost drowned.
The water just kept pushing me further and further from the edge. Just the power behind it, I couldn't fight it at all. It just swept me away like I was nothing. It's made me think how lucky I am to still be here, because it's possible that I could not be here today.